which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Roll.
Graham Cassoon.
Here.
Tobin.
Here.
Kleiner.
Here.
Johnson.
Here.
John Francois. Burr.
Here.
Green.
Here.
Massey.
Here.
President Rodriguez.
Here.
We have a quorum.
Approval of minutes.
Tonight we have 2 minutes to approve. Council meeting March 3rd, 2020, and March 17th, 2020.
So moved. Motion by Alderman Kleiner, second by Alderman Massey. All in favor? Aye. Okay, correspondence.
Nothing this evening.
Okay. Mayor, for the good of the city, would you like to come up and address our new process?
Yes, I'd like to, and then I'll continue with my remarks right now, if you don't mind, Mr. President.
No, keep going.
Well, I'm gonna start with my mask on. At City Hall, we do have a new process now where if people are stationary, they don't have to wear their mask, say at their desk or at a podium, as long as others are 6 feet or more away. But if they're moving around the building, whether they're going to the restroom or going from desk to desk, they do have to wear the mask. So I'm going to attempt to wear it throughout my presentation. And but if I stop, it's because I can't breathe. And I'm sure Mr. Massey would like that. So first to address is what we're doing tonight. As you know, the public is not allowed into our building. So we have our IT company, Cherry Road, has offered a free service for the next 90 days. It's called a virtual town hall meeting. We're considering also keeping it going through committee meetings and other meetings. And the virtual town hall registration is online. You can do it by phone, but I would go to our website, the city website, and just click on, and you'll find out. They'll walk you through it. But what's interesting is we have already 30 people signed up tonight, and it'll open up and make the city government more transparent right now during this crisis and as we move forward. So go to the website. You can check it out, the process. The participants, if you need to make a comment under the public part of the meeting, you'll have an opportunity to do so. Your phone will be muted until the moderator unmutes you and will let you know that and introduce you as asking the question. So you do need to register your name and so on. But so for tonight, this is our first bite at the apple. So we will, if we have any problems, blame Cherry Road. Don't blame me. Sorry, Cherry Road. So what I wanted to do tonight is to address our residents once again and let them know that we are working very hard, all of us, to protect our families and yours. And we have taken many precautions, some that people strongly disagree with, and some that many people do disagree with. But the bottom line is that we are making the decisions here at City Hall that we believe are in the best interests of not only the public, but our families and your families. So bear with us as we go through the process. Tonight I plan on outlining what actions the city has taken and our path forward for the next several weeks. It's important to note that while we address the current pandemic with the state of emergency and the regulations and rules that we put in place, that we have also started thinking about tomorrow, and that's our motto on the economic development side. Even after the economy begins to reopen, the coronavirus will continue to shape the recovery and consumer confidence. Unlike past recoveries, the anticipated recovery in consumer confidence will be contingent on progress in both fronts, both health and financial. While we may not be doing everything correct with economic policy in New York State, and people can have disagreements on that, Governor Cuomo has been a tremendous leader throughout this crisis, both in New York State and nationally. We elected leaders in the Mid-Hudson region have daily conference calls with the county executive and the governor's staff, 7 days a week. I also speak several times a day with the county executive, Steve Newhouse, and his staff regarding progress and concerns of our residents. We are following the guidance of the state, of Governor Cuomo, and Dr. Fauci on the federal level. After all, we consider the greatest risk would be if there was a resurgence of COVID-19 following the reopening of the economy, or following some easing of restrictions and some critical social distancing or travel regulations. It may only take a resurgence in one locality to prompt consumers from other areas, or even nationwide, to believe the relaxation occurred too soon. That would be a major miscalculation on the state's part and on our federal government's part, and would certainly reduce consumer confidence. A second shutdown of the economy, locally or nationally, would be extremely expensive in terms of the loss of lives, and our economy would be shattered for many years. And for those reasons, I've been very supportive of Governor Cuomo's efforts on a national level and a state level. So let me express that we are very grateful to the frontline heroes who are helping our state respond to this pandemic. If you see them, thank them. We've asked of that before, and many of you are. Our thanks go out to every healthcare worker, EMT, police officer, firefighter, grocery clerk, corrections officer, store clerk, mail carrier, takeout cook, hospital and building cleaner, teacher, child care worker, mental health and professionals, and countless others. You are stepping up, and our city and our state are very grateful. This is a picture of the DPW thanking tour for, we toured Orange Regional. This was done in conjunction with the town of Wallkill DPW. It was coordinated between Jacob Tawil and the Commissioner Lou Ingracia. And what it was a tour of these facilities in which we were able to say thank you to the emergency care workers, both at Orange Regional, at Middletown Medical, at a nursery school, and some other facilities, including Highland Manor, which this is a picture of on Highland Avenue, and the Old South Winds on Fulton Street. Some of the efforts that we've taken under New York Pause, and New York Pause is exactly what it says. The state has put everything on pause. The policies assure uniform safety for everyone. The governor signed the executive order mandating that 100% of the workforce must stay home, excluding essential services. The city did follow this policy for several weeks now, where we had some employees working from home, others furloughed, not many furloughed, but some were. And we have reduced, during that period of time, our workforce of non-essential workers by at least 50%. All non-essential gatherings of individuals of any size, for any reason, are temporarily banned. Enacting Matilda's Law, which is to protect New Yorkers age 70 plus, and for those with compromised immune systems, is very important. We're asking that people remain indoors as much as possible. They can go outside for solitary exercise, pre-screen all visitors into your home or into your business, and wear a mask in the company of others, and that's the policy I just described here at City Hall. You need to social distance by staying at least 6 feet from others, and do not take public transportation unless urgent and absolutely necessary. All city board meetings and commission meetings have been canceled now until May 15th. We're following the governor on that. If he extends the deadline beyond May 15th, we of course will extend it beyond May 15th also in our local state of emergency. The Common Council meetings will be published or will be viewed live once again on Channel 20. The virtual town hall meeting will continue, not only for our council meetings, but we're hoping to extend it to all commission meetings, planning board meetings, IDA meetings, and whatever public meetings are here at City Hall. We hope to have the same approach so that the public can participate or at least view what's happening. The Board of Estimate and Apportionment meeting, which consists of myself, Council President Rodriguez, and Alderman Massey, will continue to take place, but will also be closed to the public. Some of the things we're doing with some of the city departments is we're very concerned about the specific populations within the city. First and foremost, our seniors. So we have a hotline at our senior center. All of our senior employees are working. They're doing outreach to the seniors that belong or that are registered with our senior program. They're calling them, they're offering their assistance, just giving them some friendship on the phone, letting them know that their community is here if we need them. There's also a county hotline that you can call if you need something with heat and utilities, transportation, or medical needs. All of this information will be posted and is posted on our website. We have had quite a few calls about price gouging in our community. That needs to be reported to the Orange County Consumer Affairs Office, and they do have a hotline, and they're taking notices 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. The criteria for gouging is if the person has purchased, the supplier of the store has raised the price to the store owner, and they can prove it, then that's not gouging. So something that cost the store owner $5 before, now, and they were selling it for 10, and now it costs them 10, and they're selling it for 15, that is not gouging by the retail establishment. So they are handling lots of calls, and there have been some violations, and the violations are quite extensive. So I would recommend that you call them if you have a complaint. They will look into it, and the property will be violated. Orange County has also set up a hotline for businesses that are negatively impacted as a result of the mandatory closures. Business owners can call the county hotline, and they can go through an intake process to apply for certain available benefits. The county executive has announced some IDA program that will be administered through the county, making small business owners eligible within Orange County. But within our city limits, we also have a program that we are in the process of developing. You can call Maria Bruni's office at 346-4170, and I'm socially distancing myself because it's hard to talk for a long period of time with a mask. So we're far enough apart. So go back to the economic development programs. So we have an outline of not only local programs, but state, federal, and county programs outlined on our website. And for any small business, please give us a call, and we'll try to help you not only with the application or give you some direction on what programs are available. We've created a business guide for the City of Middletown businesses, and it can be accessed by our City of Middletown homepage. You can scroll down to the latest news and updates. But then again, and again, just another mechanism as we look forward for what's going to happen when the city, the state, and our federal government starts reopening businesses. Not everyone, but most people have received the $1,200 stimulus. What a lot of people don't recognize and realize is that if you did not file taxes in 2018 or 19, you are still eligible. You did, if you did file taxes and they have your bank information, you probably have already received your stimulus check. If they don't have your bank information, you will be receiving it by mail, hopefully very shortly. But if you did not file taxes, and that includes a lot of people with incomes, I believe, under $12,000, some people who are on disability, whatever the reason, if you did not file, you were still eligible for the stimulus check. From what we've been told, there are millions and millions of dollars waiting for people to collect under that stimulus program. So you can go online to on the IRS.gov and look for the economic impact payment and fill out that form, and you will receive your money as soon as that is processed. You will not receive it unless you fill out this form if you did not file taxes in 2018 or 2019. We have a large elderly population, and our demographic probably fits this very well for people to get on here and look for their money. As we said, all government buildings in the City of Middletown are closed to the public and will continue to be closed until at least May 15th. We will continue to operate with the door between City Hall and the police station. That is the public entrance door. We are putting in secured systems for the rest of the doors where you'll be able to, each employee will have limited access into the building, some 24/7, 24 hours, 7 days. Some will have business hour access into the city, into City Hall. Others will have, the public will have to use the main entrance, which is now off of James Street between the police station and City Hall. The door is monitored by a city employee during business hours. Most of the business that you're looking to conduct can be done online. John Numchuck, I think, has most of the forms on for many of the departments. If you can't do some city business online and you need to come to City Hall, call first, and we can then arrange to have documents dropped off at the desk for you. There's also an intercom there for the police station, and the police will come out and discuss whatever issues you have or need to discuss with them. You cannot get into the police station, lobby, or City Hall. So you must report to that doorway between the two, and I advise you to call ahead so that there are no delays. I mentioned before about some of the regulations that we have put in effect from the state, and we are enforcing them. All non-essential gatherings of individuals of any size for any reason are temporarily banned. We have recommended to people, if you see something, say something. You can call the Middletown Police Department first at 343-3151, or the Orange County Health Department to file a complaint with them. Keep in mind that everything you see may not be illegal. For example, in construction, a company is allowed to have one worker on a job site. Not one worker for each trade, just one worker total. So you will see some properties are being maintained, or somebody might be painting, or somebody might be doing a storefront. As long as it's one worker, they're allowed to do that under the state guidelines. If you have any question, please call, though, because the police will respond. And as of now, as of today, I can tell you that Chief Awanchu advised me that most people, and we were both very surprised by this, I think, almost all people are complying. People are scared. They know the dangers of not complying, and they are. So we do have a little issue once in a while with a few kids in the park or gathering in certain areas, but for the most part, people are complying, and when warned by the police, they do go. Probably one of the most controversial things of the past couple of weeks, I'm sure the aldermen have heard it, was the postponing of the bulk pickup. We are not canceling it. We did postpone it for the safety of our employees. So we will give at least a 30-day notice. Commissioner Tawil, after consulting with him, he was able to reinforce with me what I thought myself also, that it could be very dangerous for our employees to be out there doing the bulk pickup. It's not like a normal garbage pickup, which is necessary, but this is something that we can do July, August, or whenever it comes about. But we will give a 30-day notice and adequate advertising on all social media and our website. For this and other things, I recommend you go to our website again and sign up for Nixle. You will get notices, you will get text messages, you will get emails of all happenings within the city, including when garbage pickup will be happening or when bulk pickup will be happening. Some cancellations, of course. The Classic Weekend, the 40th year of the Orange Classic, has been canceled for this year. It was scheduled for June 6th and June 7th, that weekend. Unfortunately, this is a big year for them, the 40th anniversary, but they're also put the safety of their runners and participants and the public at the forefront, and we're not even sure if June 6th the community is going to be open. So they decided to cancel it, and they're going to have their 40th year and their 41st year come 2021. Another question we get is, why is motor vehicle closed, and what do I do? Motor vehicle is a county office, actually a state office run through the county. They are doing online transactions. They're doing license renewals online. I believe there's been an extension of most licenses or registrations that have been that have expired. But I recommend you go on the DMV website and with your specific question, and I'm sure the answers are there for you. But it is not a city agency, and we have no control of that. But they are doing the same thing we're doing with government offices, restricting the flow of people into the building. If you haven't heard, both the IRS and New York State income tax filing dates have been moved to July 15th. And from what I'm hearing, that's going to be a firm date. They're not looking to move it again because both the federal and state government, well, especially the state government, needs to operate with money. And without money, you can't pay the salaries of the police, fire, and all the other essential services. In relation to that, though, we have had, our water bills are going out. And we've had quite a few questions about water bills. One is, which we really can't do anything about, now that we have to wash our hands so much, are we going to get a reduction in our water bill?
It should have been.
I guess it's good logic, but unfortunately, our water system is paid on a user basis. So what you use, you need to pay for. What we can do, and I've discussed this with our treasurer, Don Paris, and we'll be presenting to the Board of Estimate, to the Common Council, and I may have the authority under the executive emergency order to do it, and we're trying to verify that, and if so, I will do it. The next payment that's due May 1st, we're going to allow you to split it up into 3 payments over a 4-month period. So we'll come up with a firm plan. I will, at the very minimum, introduce it to the Board of Estimate, and I'm assuming Mr. Massey and Council President Rodriguez would agree that if we can ease that financial burden over the next 4 months on someone, then we should do it. That will be done without penalty and without interest. So just a small thing that we can do in regards to some cash flow in some of our residents' homes. The unemployment insurance, we do get a daily update. On the governor's call, his staff, this is the #1 issue statewide, and that is the slow process of getting your unemployment insurance. They did about a week and a half ago switch over, or maybe 2 weeks or so, to a partnership with Google. Many people did get their unemployment and are now getting their additional $600. But we did hear some horror stories today online. I would contact your assemblyman or assembly person. In our case in Middletown, it's Assemblywoman Aileen Gunther or Senator Jen Metzger. I can assure you they are just as frustrated, but they can open up a case for you on the state level. We don't have that ability here other than to call them and tell them so-and-so didn't get their unemployment, they want to know what's happening. They would have to contact you and get a release of privacy so that they can inquire on your behalf. So you need to call them directly, Senator Metzger and Assemblywoman Gunther. This was a request from the community. I talked earlier about some of the things we're doing in the community to pump up people's spirits. And one was the tour around to the facilities with the DPW. Another is, and this came as direct from the public, it didn't come from me, was what they're doing nationwide, and especially down in the lower part of New York State, which is a 7 p.m. Invite you to join and acknowledge all give an applause to all the emergency care workers and emergency service workers, clapping, banging pots, whatever you want to do. Don't do it for a long period of time, especially on Ogden Street, because Mr. Massey is usually in bed by 7 o'clock. Another thing we're doing, again, with a 99.9% favorable rating, is the drive-by birthday parades. And if you have heard and seen a lot of police cars coming down the road in your neighborhood, no, it's not something that is should be a concern. Go out on your porch, applaud your neighbor. It's somebody's birthday. And we're doing it primarily for young kids, but also they're doing it for some elderly folks also. The fire department did one today for a longtime member on Horton Avenue, Mr. Maxwell. If you have access to Facebook, just go on and watch the video, and you will probably bring tears to your eyes how happy this guy was. I think he's like, late 80s or 90 or whatever it was, but his daughter did tape the whole thing, including after the trucks went by. So it's bringing some happiness to people. We did get a couple calls or complaints, but it's worth it for the community, believe me. This is a picture of some of the kids receiving their birthday gifts from the police department and a lineup at the fire station before going. But again, it's just to bring up the spirits of the community because a lot of people are really having a tough time. We mentioned social distancing earlier, and that's going to be the key to preventing the transmission of the disease. The virus is able to survive in the air, particularly for up to 3 hours, and for hard surfaces for up to 3 days. So the incubation period is from exposure, averages about 5 days, but can be shorter or longer, and it's up to 14 days. We have had 6 city employees, 6, who have contracted the virus. None have been hospitalized, but the ones that I have spoken to say it's one of the most horrible experiences they ever had in their life. So we've been fortunate. We have had several employees go out for testing, though. So I believe it's 6, or maybe it could be more. So again, that's one of the reasons why we stopped doing the bulk pickup, and we're taking the measures that we're taking. One of the areas that we do have a problem with, and it was incremental throughout this process, was the youth. It appears that many of them have not taken the state directive seriously from the beginning. That resulted in us closing down basketball courts and removing the basketball hoops. It resulted in us closing Hampshire Park. It's resulted in us taking other measures like closing the skate park, the dog park. So all of these things are a result of people not following the social distancing requirements. Here's a big shout out for the Middletown School District and partnership with the City of Middletown. But we're providing people. Their staff at the school district is providing lots of meals. Mid-City Transit is distributing those meals with the help of our City Parks and Rec Department and our Middletown Police Department. I think Chris Brinkerhoff told me today that as of the other day, they have distributed more than 110,000 meals throughout this process. Any child 18 or under that is in the Middletown School District is eligible. It's not just for Middletown residents. It is any child in the Middletown School District. So there is a schedule online at the school district. I believe we may have it posted also. John, do we have? Mm-hmm. We do have the bus routes.
Yes.
They do go to certain spots. I think they have 5 routes now that they're doing. So I would encourage you to participate, or at least have your child participate in it. In relation to additional closings, barber shops, hair salons, tattoo and piercing stations, salons, all things that Georgia is opening and Middletown is keeping closed. And Georgia is very stupid to be opening all of those facilities. We've had calls from tenants about evictions. I don't have a job. I don't have my rent payment. You are entitled to a 90-day moratorium on rent payment if you are impacted by COVID. So it's not an excuse not to pay your rent, but if you did lose your job, you don't have to pay your rent now. You will have to pay it later. So I would recommend that you don't abuse it, and I think you won't be evicted because of it. But I think if you went in front of a judge and you were working and you didn't lose your income, and you just decided, I don't want to pay my rent because I want to go on vacation when this thing's all over, that's not going to happen. So if you have a hardship, you have a 90-day, and this is both for commercial and residential property. If you feel you need a test, you have to go through your call your provider, your mental health, your health provider. You can call the county hotline, the state hotline. If you meet certain criteria, you will be given a test for COVID-19, but you need to be demonstrating certain symptoms or have maybe an emergency responder, or there is a criteria, so you can't just walk in and get a test. So call. If you're experiencing something that's critical, you should call 911 immediately. But if, like the heavy breathing and those types of symptoms, but you need to just pay attention to the criteria and the process. They do not want you walking into the emergency room or just showing up at your doctor's office. If you're able to call first. If it's an emergency, call 911. This is in regards to the senior center. And as I mentioned, we did close the senior center on March 10th. They are a very vulnerable population, and we want to make sure that we do everything we can to protect them. But the bus service continues to operate, and it's on its regular schedule, the regular phone call-ins and all of the things related to that program. Staff remains at the senior center and and as I said, they are calling people, asking them about their condition, if they need assistance, whatever their needs are. We're either trying to direct them to a program or trying to offer the assistance that we can give them. We have picked up prescriptions. We have delivered food, which I think I'll get into in a little bit. And I think from the program itself, just sometimes someone who's home alone in isolation, that phone call really picks them up a little bit. So we are doing an awful lot of that, and we'll continue to do so until this crisis is over. We did have to cancel, though, a couple of the upcoming activities. The annual volunteer recognition breakfast at Cools, scheduled on April 28th, and the craft fair bazaar, scheduled for May 9th, have both been canceled. We have also some volunteers, not many, but volunteers who are normally associated with the facility have offered to assist seniors with shopping, transportation, and other needs. I don't know how active that portion of the program is because we want to limit contact, but any of the needs you need, any need you may have, and if you're a senior and you don't have to be a member of the Mulberry House Senior Club or any of that, if you're a senior, just call Mulberry House at 346-4073. This is a picture of the bags that we've been delivering. As of today, we've delivered over 100 of these packages to seniors in the city of Middletown. And we want to thank Garcia's Market. They did donate. As you know, getting supplies is also a problem. Associated Market donated some bags. They're not on here, but they donated bags similar to this. ShopRite has been a good partner with us on the supply chain, making sure that they've accommodated us when we need fresh product. This is Raylyn and Nicole putting together some of the bags for distribution. And I must add that the bags are delivered by the Middletown Police Department on a need basis. So this partnership between all of these different agencies is working really well in all the different city departments. On a sad front, but on a positive front also at the same time, we've been in close communication with St. Margaret's Soup Kitchen. We've been providing them with some PPE, limited, but what we could do when we had a surplus. They are not doing food inside the facility. They are doing all orders to go. They've been working with us on making sure that the area is cleaned up afterwards. And most of the people are very thankful, not only very thankful, but are following the directions. We don't see a lot of mess from the orders to go scattered around the city. Prior to COVID-19, they were doing about 3,000 meals a month, and that was their average. They are currently, and this is about 4 or 5 days old, they were at that time 5,100 meals per month and climbing. So Through our community development office, Maria's program, we have arranged to have a $10,000 grant provided to them directly for expenses. Where do we come up with the number? We picked up, we asked them to provide us their budget for the next 3 months and what their needs would be. Their deficit projections are $3,300 a month over the next 3 months, so we came up with the $10,000. During that period of time, we're going to look to access some of the county money that's out there, possibly for soup kitchens and pantries, and look to increase this $10,000 grant. We also received a, We also received a $292,000 from the CARES program of community development block grants through the federal government. We're going to use some of that money, hopefully here down the line or in other food programs. And that program is the the program that I discussed earlier a few minutes ago, where we're going to create like a pantry setting at the rec center. We're going to stock up with some dry good inventory, essential items. We are now expanding the program to go from seniors and disabled to seniors, disabled, and families with a financial hardship. As of today, we have a list of 95 families that have made requests for it, and this is not seniors. This is separate from the senior program. We've got a list of 95 families that we will be assisting. In addition to our funding, we are starting to receive contributions from residents in our community. We did receive, and I don't, without the permission of the person, I won't announce the name, but I will in the future. One lady, a longtime Middletown resident, sent a $500 gift card for ShopRite, or one of the supermarkets. Today, or yesterday, we received a $150 check from two sisters whose mother received the care package last week. And they just wanted to say thank you, and that we know the other people in the community also need help. So this is what we're seeing from our residents. We will be, Nicole will and Chris will be putting up the guidelines for donations, certain donations. We have to get them in. We have to let them sit for 2 or 3 days. We have to spray them down and take all the precautions. And then we're going to create like a pantry at the rec center. And then we're bagging up things based on family needs. We're talking to suppliers for getting us baby wipes, for example, if we can buy them in bulk. The families, that's one of the big complaints we're hearing from families, is we need baby wipes. These packages, as you saw, orange juice, milk, eggs, toilet paper, all things that are essential, and some of them very hard to get for the people in our community. All city playgrounds remain closed. The playground equipment is closed. The parks remain open. What we've seen is people are complying with the social distancing as they're walking around. We have had a few complaints about people not wearing masks, but if you're walking by yourself, you don't need to have a mask on. But if you're going to pass somebody else, you need to put the mask on. So it's just basic, simple common sense and common courtesy. So that's basically the only complaint we've had there. We did close the dog park for the same reasons. And city sanitation and recycling services are continuing on normal schedule. The Paramount Theater has been closed now for a few weeks. All the events at the Paramount have been canceled. We had 2 shows that were scheduled, Marshall Tucker and the Association. People are being offered refunds. Both groups have agreed to reschedule for early 2021. So we are offering the customers a choice. Either take a refund now, or you can hold your ticket until the show in 2021. But we're not preventing anyone from getting a refund. They can get a refund and also buy a ticket again if they want to. But the shows have been canceled. The June ballets, all of that has been canceled for the month of June, pending any big change. We could absolutely reschedule some things, but we're not of the belief that people are going to want to go to a concert with 1,100 people gathered around them and downtown. So the Paramount, that's the marquee now, instead of advertising movies and shows. Stay healthy and safe, and we will see you soon. As we move forward, we've talked about the move forward stuff, and I've talked about it at previous meetings. The census. New York State is averaging about 44% response rate. Middletown is just under 41%. We have taken a pretty good increase, pretty significant jump since our last meeting when I reported to you that we were in the low 30s, but we had a lot more work to do. So if you don't have access to a computer, you can call it in. The number's on the board and will be on our website. Both English, or all three, English, Spanish, and Chinese. We have a growing Asian community. All you have to do is call that number if you don't have access to a computer, and it only takes a few minutes to do. It's important for many reasons, and the Everyone Counts is the all federal, state, and county aid are dependent upon census data. Our number 2 source of revenue is sales tax revenue. Strictly distributed, the formulas change every 10 years based on the census. So if we don't respond and count every person, you will see the next 10 years will be a horrible time financially for our city when you combine with what's happening today and moving 10 years forward with less revenue. So it's important for you to respond. It doesn't get changed on the local level. It does not, in other words, the federal government at times, every few years, will do some adjustments. I don't know how they factor that into their aid formulas, but locally, in regards to our number 2 revenue, sales tax, that is with us. The contracts are for 5 years, and it's renewed. So those numbers are with us for the next 10 years. So we could take a big hit in revenue moving forward. And what does that mean? That means less police, less firemen, less city workers, less government, less activities in our recreation program, our senior program. All of those things are at stake. What does it mean if you have kids in the school district? It means less school funding. And if you don't respond to the census, there's going to be more time, but we need you to respond now and pick up your community. Let us get our fair share of education, health, and all these other funding sources that New Yorkers need. And it's not only for us, it's for the county, it's for the state also. So before we wrap up, I'm going to go into some statistics as of April 20th. New York State cases we have 251,690 cases in New York State as of April 20th. Those are positive cases. Tested people were 649,325, which means a 3.9% positive rate of people being tested. Today, they had 4,178 new positive cases. So this thing is not over. 4,178 new cases in New York State over the last 24 hours. Over the past 24 hours, we had 481 additional deaths. As the governor has said, significantly down from the 700 plus that we were experiencing over the last few weeks, but it's still a huge number, a huge loss of life. They are now breaking those deaths down to 2 categories. One is hospital and one is nursing home. So out of those 481, 29 were nursing home deaths and 452 were hospital deaths. I was told today, and I'm trying to verify, but I think it's accurate, that the nursing home deaths may be a little misleading, because if a person is transferred from the nursing home to a hospital, they are not calculated as a nursing home death. They are counted as a hospital death. So we're hoping, some of us have made the requests, because we do have some nursing facilities in our community and in our county, Valley View, Highland Manor, the Promenade on Fulton, which I couldn't remember before. These are all facilities that we would like to know if there is a high mortality rate within those facilities. Whether they break it down for us that way or not, I don't know. We don't have direct access to that data. One of the good piece of news today was intubations were down, 127 statewide, and the in-hospital admissions are down, or in-hospital folks, not admissions, are down to 27%. In Orange County, we've had 19,075 people tested, and 7,029 have been positive, for a positive rate of 3.7%, slightly below the state rate. Today, they tested, over the last 24 hours, they tested 298 people. 79 were positive in Orange County. And up to date, we've had 231 deaths. In Middletown, we have, as of April 20th, 715 positive cases. The newspaper asked me today, what do you attribute that to? We are number 2 behind Newburgh in the county. And what we attribute to is we're a middle-class community. Our people are working. They're working in the hospitals. They're working in the medical corridors. They're working in doctors' offices. They're working in grocery stores. Essential services is what this city is built around, and that's the people that are getting sick. Therefore, our numbers are higher. So the people are complying. We're asking people to, if there's anything we can do to help them, and I think we're on the right path. But I don't want anyone to think that we're not doing our residents just because they can't, like a police officer or a fireman, they're getting these things, whether it's at work or one fireman I know, his wife's a nurse or his mother was a nurse, and they contracted the disease. It's just this family interaction of people working is going to spread this even more. So you got to know your symptoms. I'm sure you've heard it a million times, but we have some of that information online. Do the hand wash, the elbow cough, the face, don't touch it, although I probably touched it 10 times during this. It's tough to do. Keep your distance and stay home if you can. The governor has also issued the executive order, which I referenced before, about the wearing of a face mask in public, and what we're doing here at City Hall. You need to comply with that. If you don't, the police can give you a ticket. And one of the bigger issues of properly disposing of gloves and masks, go to any supermarket parking lot, and at certain periods of time, it's a disgrace. It's dangerous, not healthy, and I just wish we could just tape it and watch people do it, and then give them tickets right on site. But it's just so disrespectful both to the workers who are there, and they're having big problems with supermarkets. They're like the new heroes, and they're out there picking up, gloves and masks off the ground, and some of them are also getting sick. So please be responsible. If you need help, emotional support, there are hotlines on New York State hotline. The county also has some numbers. You can go on our website for that also. And here's the state hotline and some of our city information and our local officials. And all of this will be available on our social media and on our website. And Channel 20 will keep repeating all of this information. So that's all I have. I did address the water bill. In addition, the census, you might have received a card today with my pretty picture on it, encouraging you to do the census. Please, that's our pathway forward, is getting yourself counted in census. Any questions?
Any question, Alderman Johnson?
I just had a quick one with respect to the mandate to wear a mask. There's more and more stores now that are saying if you don't have a mask, you can't enter.
Correct.
Is local law enforcement ready to, I went into a place, not only was it the mask, but the person said, please keep it on the entire time you're in the store, because I guess some people are doing. Where does local law enforcement or government interact with that policy?
My understanding is we have the authority in the state of emergency, and we amended ours and included additional penalties that the Middletown Police Department will enforce it. I don't think they're going to enforce it on person's private property, so we're not going to go on your property and say, hey, Doc Johnson, put on a mask. But if you're at ShopRite and you refuse to put on the mask, and we're called, I'm hoping that in that kind of case, that's not a case where there's a warning, because at the entrance to every supermarket, you're told you need to wear a mask. So if someone is deliberately doing that, I would hope that they would get a ticket, and I think the chief would probably agree with that.
Thank you.
Alderman Kleiner?
Yes, have you heard anything about whether local and state funding is being considered in any of the new stimulus bills?
Yes. The New York Conference of Mayors has sent out a memo to all members, which are most mayors in the state, and we're a member of the organization. There is a bill that is being discussed in Congress that will distribute funds through the community development process. So the formulas that are in there, we're in a community development entitlement city. So the bill that they are asking everyone to support, and we don't have a problem here in Middletown because both of our senators are Democrats and Congressman Maloney is a Democrat. And this organization is apolitical. They don't get into politics at all. But the governor was down in Washington today,
Right.
advocating for state and local aid as one of the future stimulus packages and aid packages, recognizing that without monies from the federal government, local government's going to have to cut services. Governor Cuomo has already said without federal help, you can expect a 50% cut in state aid. So the stimulus package that's being considered, and they're asking for people throughout New York State to call a member of the Republican congressional delegation in New York State, asking them to support it, is very significant for us. Under the formula that was distributed, the city of Middletown would receive $5.4 million. How that money can be used, we don't know. It's not explained. But it's a pretty solid number for us because, as you know, at a previous meeting, the projections from our treasurer was that we will have a shortfall in 2020 of $5.1 million based on sales tax revenue primarily. We're estimating a $4 million loss of sales tax for the city of Middletown this year. Money that's already budgeted, and as I mentioned then, we have no plan to lay off this year. We're going to get through this, and we're going to move forward with this. We're in pretty strong financial shape, thanks to all of our work over the last few years. But moving forward, if that number stays low and doesn't bounce back up, you can anticipate 2-3 years down the road having to look at city services. We had a pretty good and adequate fund balance. Could it slow down projects? We're not slowing down our projects. We're moving forward with our projects. Most of them are under grants. So the 5.1 deficit is a actual real number that we probably will be facing as we go through this year, looking for fund balance transfers.
Thank you.
Anyone else? Thank you, Mayor.
Want me to talk for a few more minutes?
You might as well. So for the good of the city, at this time, we'll ask Eileen if there's anybody from the public that would like to address the council. Please, you have 3 minutes to address the council.
We have one person this evening. It is Rachel Goldler, and she is being unmuted now. Rachel, you need to unmute yourself. Perfect. Go right ahead.
Hi, I'm a homeowner, and I have an order of eviction to remove a tenant for non-payment. It was dated February 25th. It expires April 25th, and as you stated, there's a 90-day moratorium. But I would like to know how and when I could get to the civil court to extend my eviction judgment, so when the moratorium is lifted, the sheriff department can proceed with removing the tenant. And I want to thank you for this forum, and thank you for taking my question.
Thank you.
Yeah, the city is not involved in the court system. The court's operated by New York State. Have you Hopefully you've contacted the court in Goshen. I don't believe any civil trials are going on now or any civil evictions. The sheriff's office would be doing those evictions, but you probably should contact both the sheriff and the court system in Goshen. The court locally in Middletown is not even open, so we wouldn't be able to even help you by walking down the hall and getting the information for you. So I would call Goshen, and I would also call the sheriff's office and talk about, if you already have the order, how they would handle the order when the time frame comes up.
Okay, Eileen, do we have another one?
That was everyone.
Okay, moving on to department heads, economic development.
Good evening, everyone. I'll just give you a quick snapshot on what's been going on in our department. The Community Development Agency, it looks like the Prince Street property is still on track for closing. We're still working with the homeowner. The attorneys are working everything out. Also, the Wickham Avenue project is continuing. We are following the New York State guidelines, social distancing and so forth, and that project is on track. Tonight on your agenda, you see two properties, Talcott and Pine Street. Look for your support on those, and those would be transferred to the CDA and right into our home ownership program. So we're looking forward to that as well. And on the DRI, the facade program is still continuing, again, following the New York State guidelines, social distancing and so forth. The mayor did mention about our community development block grant COVID relief funds in the area of $292,000. We're working on the plan and has to go through the normal comment period, even though it has HUD has shrunk the comment period. So we look forward to getting that in. It'll be coming to the council for authorization as well. So as you can see, things are moving in the department. Everybody has been great working on various projects that have come up, social media, stuff with refunds at the theater. So I'm proud of my department and all the work that they're putting in during this time. And that's all I have.
Any question for Maria? Thank you, Maria.
Thank you.
DPW Commissioner.
Good evening, all. Tremendous presentation by the mayor, obviously strong leadership that he's been providing for us on a daily basis. And we are meeting with him, with the mayor, the police chief and myself, also on a daily, really 7 days a week, participating with the conference phone calls and planning and so on and so forth. So he's been a leader and on the forefront of all this tremendous but sad situation we're in. I will start with the headline or the first page on today's paper, which is Back at You, which is basically the healthcare providers, nurses, doctors, janitors, administrative staff in Orange Regional and Crystal Run and everywhere else. They were thrilled by the parade that we have organized through DPW, City of Middletown, starting it, and then Town of Walkill jumped in, and then the state police jumped in as well, and they have toured all the medical facilities like the mayor said, and he went into great details with that, so I'm not gonna go too much. But what impressed me the most is how the people, the heroes, really the medical heroes in there, the nurses and the doctors, they were applauding us, DPW, as they were driving through, because they are the garbage men that collect your garbage every day. They are the street guys in there that fix the potholes and take care of collapsed infrastructure. They are the ones who repair the water mains. Our sanitation guys, they'll be out midnight tonight because we have some issues in there, and they're going to be at 3 o'clock in the morning, and they're going to continue to make sure that the garbage is collected. So they are as much first responders in DPW as anybody else, and we appreciate also the police chief being with us in the parade, and of course it was led by our mayor and Alderman Massey and fire chief as well, participating in the parade. It was a tremendous success and put tears in everybody's eyes, including our men. The next day, today, they were all talking about it. They were all impressed, and they'll be happy to do anything they can to help our heroes, basically, in the medical community. The other thing is we have still 2 bid openings just for contractors. One is Davidge Park expansion, and that's May 14th. That's when the bid is going to be open. So you have time. Any contractor in there still has time to go pick it up and pick up the plans. And also we have the 24-inch high-pressure main and the 12-inch high-pressure main replacement project, and that bids at the end of this month. So you still have time, any contractors out there, to pick up the plans and bid the project. The mayor and I, we had a long meeting with the low bidder and the engineers for the parking lots improvement in the city of Middletown, which is DRI funding, which is what Maria worked very hard to get the funding for, and with the mayor. And we had a meeting in there where we can hopefully get this project moving relatively soon. We're trying to iron out some discrepancy here and there, but we're very optimistic that it will move forward. Before you tonight, there is a $20,000 request for Jacobs Engineering. Jacobs Engineering, they've been doing our safe field analysis since 2010. And the DEC, we've been going back and forth. It's non-stop with the DEC, and it's very disappointing to me, but they're still asking for more stuff, for more documentation, for more different analysis. So this one before you tonight is to conduct some dynamic analysis of the stream flows and the water level in the streams, and not using the conventional method of using a static method or mass balance method of analyzing, of coming up with a safe field analysis, which is cumulative over a number of years. What is the worst drought condition the city of Middletown can be under, and how much water can you produce at that time? So this proposal before you tonight is to approve Jacobs Engineering to do the additional analysis, not all of it, because the DEC is could potentially ask for much more, which is for now only some basic analysis in their dynamic analysis for the $20,000. And to that avenue in there, we just collected a check from Amy's Kitchen for their hookup fees into our water and sewer system in the amount of $225,000. So our infrastructure is still generating revenue for us, and that's only the beginning. Amy's Kitchen is building as fast as they can. They're putting their water line in, their sewer line in. We're expecting to do the connection to our water system next week. You will see the activities by the wastewater treatment plant entrance at Dawson Avenue. That's where the connection point is going to be. Heritage Trail is moving along swiftly, the construction, and very soon Dawson Town Road is going to be closed off in there because the Heritage Trail is going to go through it, and they will be constructing a box culvert there so that the people, the pedestrians or the users of the trail will be going under Dawson Town Road through the box culvert. So that will be happening next week or the following week, where the construction is gonna start there. You will see some construction activities starting today at Orchard Street, which is a Catalyst. That's a city project. It's deemed to be essential project in there because we have to connect our storm sewer, and that is the project that that is the walkway project from East Main Street to Orchard Street in there. That's the mayor's vision. Honestly, it is his idea, because I keep saying the mayor's vision because it's truly his idea, and it's a very good idea to connect East Main Street to Orchard with the walkway and lights, and that will connect the whole corridor in there. It's like a loop. So the construction started. If you see the activities, they have started. Any contractor who's working on our infrastructure will have coronavirus compliance a program in there that has to be reviewed and approved by us, which is basically the social separation, wearing masks, avoiding to be being close contact with people, with other workers. Also, taking the temperature in the morning and in the afternoon, and just before the shift is ending in there to make sure that their health is being monitored. So there is a program that any contractor that work with us, for us, in an infrastructure project that must submit the coronavirus compliance plan. With that, I will conclude my remarks if you have any questions.
Any questions for Jacob? Alderman Kleiner.
And just quickly, I see a few places around where the streets have been dug up and, patches put in and stuff. Is that a specific project, or is that just random?
No, you're talking about the ones in Wickham Avenue, Orange and Rockland. They're
It's
doing
all-
a major, yeah.
It's all Orange and Rockland, okay.
Yes, Orange and Rockland, they're doing a major gas main upgrade, and it's really ideal time, and they qualify as essential in there. And it's ideal time because the traffic is minimal right now in our roads and our streets and our parking areas.
Right.
So they were going fast in there, and you will see all these sidewalks in Wickham Avenue, they're blacktopped right now. But Orange and Rockland, they're gonna come in and rip them out and replace them with concrete when after the project is completed, just like they did for us on Academy Avenue.
Yeah.
If you recall, they put blacktop, then they came almost 6 months later after they allowed settlement, ripped it all out, put very nice concrete, and they did a very good job with it on the sidewalk.
Thank
So
you.
the gas main is going under the sidewalk, not in the street.
So are we gonna wait 6 months for the sidewalks to be replaced?
No, you already have safe sidewalks to walk on. It's just they're gonna be blacktop. They are already safe, so safe, there's nothing wrong with them. You can plow them, you can
They
shovel
started
them.
on
you can-
West Main, now they're on Wickham. They can start doing the the sidewalks.
No, we want to allow it to settle, the whole idea is to allow it some time to settle, although they tamped it and all that stuff. Just like they did with us on Academy Avenue. It was a successful project. It sat in there, settled. If there is any issue, they will address it with the blacktop sidewalk.
So the
and then
settling
it's
is gonna be
all
6
ripped out.
months?
I'm sorry?
Are we gonna look at the sidewalks for 6 months like that?
I don't know how much you have to look at them like that, but you may have to.
Okay.
You may have to. That's a major project they're doing. And hopefully by the end of the summer, we're going to start our own curbs and sidewalks, and we're doing the final evaluation right now to award all of our curbs and sidewalks, $3.6 million in there. Most of it is grant, to replace all our curbs and sidewalks in Wickham Avenue, Grove Street, all over downtown, at the Dulcin Avenue. That's going to be awarded hopefully in the next council meeting, but we're trying to iron out things with the DOT. So City of Middletown, if everything picks up, you're going to have a massive rebirth, really, of the city from its infrastructure, above ground infrastructure. Then you have the water lines coming in. That's going to be a massive improvement underground as well. So it's going to be moving very fast, and the huge projects are coming along. And I appreciate all of your commitments, the mayor, all of you guys, of keep funding it in there as long as we can afford it. It's tremendous time.
Thank you, Jacob.
Yes, sir.
John?
Just a reminder that our department at City Clerk's office is still issuing birth certificates and copies of death certificates and marriage certificates. So, we're doing everything by mail. I know we're getting calls from all over the country for mailing out. So we are still, we can still do that by mail. So anybody has any questions on it, they can check the website, how to do it, or give us a call at 845-346-4166. And that's all I have.
Okay, any questions for John? Thank you, John. All right, remarks of Alderman Massey.
Thank you. First, for civil service, just in case anyone of the 100-plus people who were scheduled to take the fireman's test this Saturday, obviously, I've mentioned it before, but in case you missed it, that's been postponed. I'm not sure when it will be given again. The state will tell us, give us the guidelines, and at that point, we'll put it on the our website. John, I know, has that it's canceled or that it's postponed. When we learn of the date, I'll put it on. And then just finally, I had the opportunity yesterday and the pleasure of riding with the mayor in the parade. And I know Jacob mentioned it, and I've been thinking about it. I thought about it yesterday when we came back. And here we were out there going to Orange Regional, Crystal Run, Middletown Medical, and several other places. And we're there thanking them, waving to them, giving them the thumbs up, because those are the people that are right on the front line. And saying thank you to them, and I could see the people mouthing back to us, thank you for coming down to it. And I said, wow, that something brought a tear to my eyes, because we were there for them, and they appreciated it so much that they turned around and thanked us. So I thank everyone that has to be out there doing the job, whether you're police, fire, EMT, grocery, or sanitation, whatever. Thank you for doing it and keeping us afloat.
Alderman Tobin?
Yes. I think everybody's watching the news. I think that I'm not a doctor, but I think we're going through the worst of it now. This is the triage point. They're saying a vaccine might not be available for 18 months. So until there's a vaccine, there'll be adjustment period. You're not going to flip the switch and come right back on. That's just moved a lot. We're still going to have restrictions. And I think, the history teacher, every generation's faced crisis and challenges, whether it's war, depression. This is our crisis. So this is a time to come together to support each other. And I think in Middletown we have. I do see nationally, and it's driving me nuts, this people, the idea of I think it's a right not to wear a mask, or people assembling to protest. You do have rights, but you never have the right under the Bill of Rights to hurt someone with your rights. You can't say fire in a theater or call in bomb threats. I don't see how people, you have a right to get sick, but you don't have a right to get other people sick. And so this is the time together not to think about yourself. We're wearing masks to protect not just us, but our family members, our parents, grandparents. So please do your part to help out. And come together. I think also the food pantry and the assistance. I know there's a stigma sometimes about going to a food pantry, and I hope that people, if you need help, will use that help and go to the food pantry, go to the soup kitchen. This is not your fault. This is a national pandemic. There's nothing to do with you. So if you need that help, please reach out. And I think we all have to be patient, because things are not going to change instantly. It's going to take us some time to recover. So I'd like to thank everybody for their patience. I'd like to thank specifically Margot Gordon Sepulveda. She volunteered and made some homemade masks that we're going to donate to the food pantry. Another Lions Club is also thinking about doing that too. I also, like the mayor, like to thank our frontline heroes, and ask that you pray for our residents that are ill or sick, and my sincere condolences to folks that have lost their loved ones. Thank you.
Alderman Green?
Thank you. I will echo sentiments to those who we've lost, to those who are sick. We certainly wish a speedy recovery. And to the frontline workers, thank you. Thank you, thank you. We talk about large death numbers. I guess today's number worldwide is estimated about 177,000 people have died from this disease, which is a terrible astronomical number. But I know that there are also many today who are observing Yom HaShoah, which is a day of Holocaust remembrance, a day of remembering over 6 million plus who perished during the darkest days of unfortunately in our last century. So I just want to say, that certainly I remember, and I will take some time to reflect on those terrible events, and certainly hope that we never have to experience loss or hatred or racism on a level like that ever again. Thank you very much.
Alderman Johnson?
Thank you. With respect to healthcare providers, there was something on the internet somewhere, and we're all sitting here with our masks on for an hour, and we're adjusting them and taking them off to talk and putting them back on. And this particular nurse was, saying to people who are bored because they have to stay at home all the time, try a shift where you have to wear that mask for the whole shift because you can't break sterility. And that means you can't get a drink of water. And that means you can't really do anything except wear the mask, take care of people who may be terminally ill, hope you don't bring it home to your family, and hope you don't get sick. They deserve a lot more than a parade, but we're certainly doing the best we can to thank them for that. I'm also going to wear my veterinary hat just for a moment. There's a lot of conversations in the world and on the various media about animals. We as vets get questions all the time. I'm going to give you 3 facts because it's an ever-changing landscape. I think we all understand what you know today may be totally different with what you're told tomorrow. But as of April 19th, the AVMA president, and that's the American Veterinary Medical Association, put out a statement to clear up misconceptions. And the statement read, "There's no evidence that dogs or cats can spread the novel coronavirus to people, nor is there evidence of dogs, cats, or livestock becoming infected by their owners and spreading the virus to other animals or people," says President Dr. John Howe. That's fact number 1. Fact number 2, that statement notwithstanding, the New York State Veterinary Medical Society came out very early in the pandemic and said if you are a COVID positive human, if you'll pardon the expression, you should try to maintain social distance from your pets as you would from family members of your household. And thirdly, there's a diagnostic lab called IDEXX. They're worldwide, and they have just put out a press release yesterday that behind the scenes, starting in February, they were running tests on symptomatic dogs, cats, horses, and cows. They ran 5,000 tests since mid-February in 17 countries and have not come up with any positive animals carrying the virus. So those are 3 facts. If they change next week, I'll let you know. Thank you very much.
There was a tiger in the Bronx Zoo, right?
You want me to answer that question?
Yeah.
Okay. So the USDA has a statement on that. There were 5 tigers and 3 lions. They did not test all those animals because they have to be put under general anesthesia to do a tracheal wash. That is a PCR test, polymerase chain reaction. That is a very sensitive test that picks up DNA particles. So yes, that tiger tested positive. Whether that was why that tiger had the symptoms, and whether that tiger could transmit that virus to others is not clear. The only thing that is a fact is that the handler for those animals was a COVID positive patient. There you go.
All right, thank you. Alderman Cthulhu?
Good evening, Mayor. I'd like to thank you for the very informative information you gave everyone tonight. I don't have anything to say except that I hope everyone follows the guidelines, stays safe and healthy, and their families stay well. That's all.
Alderman Kleiner.
Thank you. I just want to comment on Alderman Green bringing up the Holocaust remembrance because remember when you think of those people out there refusing to obey and help, we still have people who are Holocaust deniers who just say the whole thing never happened. So it's something to keep in mind. The last meeting, I thanked a lot of people, certainly all the healthcare workers, all the people who are on the front lines and the people working hard. I neglected to thank our mayor. I think that he's done an amazing job. He was very proactive, very early, and I think Middletown has been well served by his leadership. So I thank you, Mayor, for that. I want to mention, if you're not scared enough, just Google Science Magazine coronavirus. And what you will come up with, there's an article, it's called How Does Coronavirus Kill? If you think this is just like the flu, you need to read that article. It's the most up-to-date study of everything it does, and it is frightening. So even so, I recommend you read it because well-informed, you're going to make the best decisions. Tomorrow, Wednesday, and I see the Record actually has a story about this, or tomorrow, it's the 50th anniversary of the first Earth Day. And that's what we would be talking about in normal times, our Earth Day celebration, and on Friday, Arbor Day, and remembering that we still do have an existential crisis we're dealing with beyond this one. And it is saving this planet. One of my favorite songs is Steve Forbett's Good Planets Are Hard to Find. Check it out on YouTube if you've never heard it. But, you know, we see scientists were so excited this past week because they found another very Earth-like planet nearby Well, there nearby is 300 light years. That's 300 years traveling at the speed of light to get there. That's theoretically impossible. Suppose you could travel at half the speed of light and then just set your alarm clock for 600 years and wake up and see what you find. We need to save this planet. And so I think we should be aware tomorrow, in spite of everything going on, that Earth Day still matters, and it matters in a big way. We know how we said the Green New Deal, how could we possibly pay for it? Well, so far, we've managed to print about $5 trillion worth of money that we don't have, and because we're dealing with an existential crisis. So it's something to keep in mind. If you're talking to your representatives, your congressional representatives, remember the post office, because the president still is refusing to consider any help for the post office. And like everyone else, they're suffering, and if they run out of funds, he's afraid of people voting by mail, because he's afraid of people voting, period. So I would encourage you to tell your representatives, keep working on funds for the post office, because they need it, we need it. It's certainly an essential service. I want to particularly thank all the people who immediately put up that program for Meals for School Kids, the people in the school and the Parks and Rec people and the police department and everybody who's come around and helped with that, because that's every day. That's almost a full day schedule of serving meals, and it's so important and very well done. And thank you. The money to the soup kitchen, they've been here for, I think, over 50 years taking care of people, so that's a great thing we're doing. And lastly, we lost John Prine, my favorite singer, entertainer, period, all time. And I just want to send out get well wishes to Dave Bechtel and Gary Texter and Roland Leibold, three really bright lights in Middletown. I hope they do well. Thank you.
Alderman John Francois.
Thank you. I have to echo what Alderman Klein had to say. I also like to thank the mayor. Thank you for your leadership. Regardless of what's going on right now, there's a lot of chaos that's going on in this world. And as our leader, you step up to the plate many a time. When I saw the email come across for the soup kitchen that was having a crisis, you stepped up and gave them $10,000 and more to come. And I said, I was very proud of that, to be part of at this group, to be part of to be for you to step up to the plate to do what you need to do to help the community, to help our seniors, and you're doing a great job. I'm very proud of you. I'm very proud to be a part of this organization. Thank you very much.
Alderman Burr.
Yeah, I'd also like to thank the mayor on a very detailed Corona, and for businesses and everything, it's great, because there's a lot of things out there. You being the business owner, your wife, me, there's programs out there, and now what Maria is going to have to offer programs for the city is all positive. I did see the DPW parade. I was at my business, not open, but it was quite impressive. All the trucks, I couldn't believe you had that many trucks at once. And everything, the police cars. And on Easter Sunday, the fire department was out with the Easter bunny, going around the neighborhood to, for the kids. So it's all great, and through these crises, it's good to see some good things happening. And on the school district's lunch, my daughter's part of that. That's doing about 7,000 meals a day, and it's great for our Parks and Rec to be involved, and our resource officers go around with the thing, and Mid-City Transit bring the food. Thank you very much.
Thank you. New business.
We have a resolution sponsored by Alderman Johnson regarding the enforcement of Article 17 of the Labor Law.
Resolution sponsored by Alderman Johnson, second by Alderman Green. Any discussion? Roll.
Graham Cassoon.
Aye.
Tobin.
Aye.
Kleiner.
Aye.
Johnson.
Aye.
John Francois.
Aye.
Burr.
Aye.
Green.
Aye.
Massey.
Aye.
President Rodriguez.
Aye.
Resolution passes. Resolution sponsored by Alderman Massey to approve a proposal from Jacobs Engineering to provide additional services as required by the DEC related to the Safe Yield and Amy Kitchen water taking permit.
Resolution sponsored by Alderman Massey, seconded by Alderman Burr. Any discussion? Roll.
Graham Cassoon.
Aye.
Tobin.
Aye.
Kleiner.
Aye.
Johnson.
Aye.
John Francois.
Aye.
Burr. Green.
Aye.
Massey.
Aye.
President Rodriguez.
Aye.
Resolution passes. Resolution sponsored by Alderman Green to approve the purchase take-back of 2 properties, 21 Pine Street and 8 Talcott, for transfer into the CDA.
Resolution sponsored by Alderman Green, second by Alderman Johnson. Any discussion? Roll.
Graham Cassoon.
Aye.
Tobin.
Aye.
Kleiner.
Aye.
Johnson.
Aye.
John Francois.
Aye.
Burr. Green.
Aye.
Massey.
Aye.
President Rodriguez.
Aye.
Resolution passes. Resolution sponsored by Alderman Burr to reappoint Timothy Welch to the Civil Service Commission.
Resolution sponsored by Alderman Byrd, second by Alderman Kleiner. Any discussion? Roll.
Graham Cassoon.
Aye.
Tobin.
Aye.
Kleiner.
Aye.
Johnson.
Aye.
John Francois.
Aye.
Burr. Green.
Aye.
Massey.
Aye.
President Rodriguez.
Aye.
Resolution passes. That is all for new business.
Audit.
Mr. President, I move the accounts be audited, claims be adjusted, and the city treasurer be authorized to issue warrants for their payment.
Resolution sponsored by Alderman Massey, seconded by Alderman Tobin. Roll.
Graham Cassoon.
Aye.
Tobin.
Aye.
Kleiner.
Aye.
Johnson.
Aye.
John Francois.
Aye.
Burr. Green.
Aye.
Massey.
Aye.
President Rodriguez.
Aye.
Resolution passes.
Move for adjournment.
So moved.
Second.